Okay, so this is JP and I'm back. So today I'll be announcing the winner, who is coincidentally X, I don't know, X Strider 420X. So congratulations! Just so that you know, he left by far the most interesting um, comment in the among the rest of you. So he will be winning the mouse set, which is this one over here. So congratulations to you. Sorry, excuse me. Yep, so congratulations to you. You'll be winning this monk set. I have dropped you a message in game. Not in game, but on YouTube. So do check that out, and I hope you guys will keep supporting the channel. Now for this week, um, what will be going on is I will be making one more video today, and you can leave a comment on that for any feedback, or you can go ahead and try and win one of the other sets by leaving a comment as well. So here are the other sets once again. This is the monk, or rather the barbarian set. Turned out pretty well actually, this set. Next we have the witch doctor, which is this one. Turned out really well turned out pretty nicely as well. This is my favorite set, the one that among all of them. This is the wizard one, and this one does MP10 really easily, surprisingly, except for the champions and elites. And lastly, this is the demon hunter. Yep. So for today, what I'll be doing is I'll be doing a legendary guide, and this guide will just show you all the mainstream legendaries that people will be doing, or rather will be using for their sets, regardless of which class they're playing. In the future videos, I will be doing a more specific guide, things like for which class, or which sets you'll be using for which class. So let's start off with the mempo here. So the mempo, I'm pretty sure everybody knows the mempo. As you probably would have noticed, the price of the mempo can vary quite a bit. So needless to say, for some reason the intelligence one seems to be the cheapest all the time. This is something I've noticed, and the dex ones are the more expensive ones. So you can grab a mempo for a fairly reasonable price, like 100k for a helm this good. You know, it's got everything you want. All resist, your core stat, and attack speed, socket, life percent, and one more additional stat. So needless to say, the most expensive thing on the mempo that you can get is crit chance. So once you get that, you know, it immediately jumps to over 200k, and that's not even a good one. Like, it has no core stat whatsoever. So yeah, if you want a core stat, it'll be like 200. You already know. At entry level. Needless to say, the dex ones are going to be more expensive. There you go. 445 million for a fairly decent pair. I mean, they're not great, but that's just it. So one of the tricks that you can do instead of getting crit chance is get vitality instead, or a resist. So the vitality ones are a little cheaper, but again, you're not going to get the best rolls on this. Like, if you want a pretty decent roll, which I think is like 100, yeah, there ain't too many on the market. Oh, you can't even get a good one. Okay, so let's just go 90 then. So yeah, so this is not too bad. This will give you quite a bit of health, and they're not too expensive. Again, we have to check the dex ones, because the dex ones are the more expensive ones. So yeah, 6 mil for entry level dex with a decent Vite roll. With no Vite, I mean, with some Vite you could get it for like 300k, but those aren't too great. This is pretty decent. Yeah. So other than the mempo, we'll move on to the Vile Wards, which is another mainstream one. So the Vile Wards are pretty interesting because they go up and down in price quite a bit. Needless to say, for the Varwards, the strength ones are the cheaper ones, because you can usually get better rare shoulders than you can for strength rolls. So yeah, you can get them for like less than 30k, which is pretty surprising. Needless to say, those are just pretty average ones. Once you start adding things like vitality, it does push the price up a bit. Once again, the strength ones are the cheaper ones, and the dex ones would be the more expensive ones. Yeah, so there you go. Like the int ones aren't too bad, I don't think. Okay, so the int ones are a little more expensive now, which is pretty shocking actually. They weren't too expensive too long ago, but it seems that they are now. So um, let's look for the dex again. Yeah, so the decks are still the more expensive ones. So the Var wards, once again, really good ones. They always come with all resist, a core stat, armor, and life regen. So you get everything you could want, you could get here. So I wouldn't go anything other than a vitality roll on a Var ward. Though you could try, like if you're a monk, you could go like dual resist, and you might get lucky here. But Vite is always a must on shoulders, I think. So yeah, needless to say, the monks will be having a hard time trying to get Var wards. Though, no, excuse me. Like with any other um, uh, armor piece, the crafted ones could be and are most likely better to a certain degree. Once you can afford to get a crafted pair, you should get crafted pair. So next we'll just go look for these. These are the Lucuni Prowlers. So the Lucuni Prowlers is a lot like the Mempo, but it is a pretty good DPS booster. And it's the only bracers that can roll attack speed, much like the Mempo being the only one that can get attack speed on the helm. So the Lucuni Prowlers, once again, they do start for pretty cheap. Like this is that's pretty shocking actually. So yeah, so you can get a pair for like 20k. Once you start adding things like crit chance, which is what everybody looks for, the price does tend to go up quite a bit. Needless to say, these don't have a core stat on it, which is why it's really cheap. So once you add things like let's not look for dexterity. The dexterity ones will be the more okay, like strength, right? Yeah, it does jump the price quite a bit. These are not even really good strength rolls. Like that's decent. Actually, it's pretty shocking. I saw dexterity here. 70 dexterity is not too bad. So if you guys see something like that, you should just buy it out. I think it's underpriced. Yeah. So okay, so that's pretty shocking. Yeah, so once you start adding things like all resist, the price will go up quite a bit. There you go, 2 mil for pretty shitty pair of all resist. Like a good pair will have something like, in my opinion, like 60 all resist and something like 70 dex, I guess. So yeah, this is a pretty solid pair right here, but it's like 35 mil, and the crit chance is not even good. Like 4% is minimum what you want, and that's like 159 mil. So yeah, once you do have enough money, you should be looking into the Lucunis. It's just a great way to boost your DPS. So the next mainstream legendary that I'll be going through, let me just type it out, is the Witching Hour. Now some people like to sort the Witching Hour by searching all legendaries, adding in 90 int attack speed and crit damage. But if you're not gonna look for 9 attack speed or over 40 crit damage, then you should just search Witching Hour. It makes no sense to put in that much effort. So once again, the Witching Hour, like I was saying, pretty good legendary right here. The strength ones tend to be just a little more expensive, just because that is an additional roll. The int ones are, needless to say, the cheapest because they always roll with int, and you can get 8 anywhere from 8 to 9% attack speed, and anywhere from, like, I believe it's 35 to 50 crit damage, which is really good. So once again, the expensive thing at the moment would seem to be the dex ones, which is, yeah, like a shitty dex roll is 2 mil, and a decent one, like, that's really mixed up, so people wouldn't really know what they would want to get on that. So yeah, so the dex one, once again, let's look for like 70 and see what we can find. Okay, so this is actually not too bad nowadays. We're looking at about 2 mil for a decent dex one. So the dream is to have like all resist, and that would just shoot the price up quite a bit to like over 20 mil for a basic. No, 2 mil. So that's actually really good. That's really good actually. Oh, 70, are you kidding me? So like, yeah, so apparently the prices have gone down. Like at one point the entry level was like about 6 to 7 mil. Now they seem to drop quite a bit. Like if you get rid of that, yeah, it's only like 500k. You know, at one point it's like a few million. So once again, the witching hour, great legendary. Some of the things that people do underprice on witching hours is armor for some reason. Like you can get some pretty good armor rolls for a really cheap price. So if you're not going to go all rest, you could try going armor. This is a little tip for you guys. And let's just go Endaros. Now the Endaros Vestige, I wouldn't say it's a mainstream one, but it is one that I feel people should be looking out for, because it's as good as a Mempo. Like, unless your Mempo rolls I would say at least a 4%, like an Endaros, if you're looking at the stats here, the comparison, as you can see, okay, my Mempo has 200 in, so it's pretty hard to compare with that. Though let's try and see if we can compare with that. Let's just go 200 int, and this should be better than mine. Yeah, as you can see, they do have more DPS than mine. This one almost has more light than mine, so more life rather. So once again, like for cost, the Mempo, the Endaros is way better. The one thing you have to watch out for is the additional fire damage taken. Ideally you want a single digit, or anything more than 15% is unacceptable in my opinion. A single digit is ideal. Like this is ideal. Wow, that's actually really good, but I'm not gonna buy it because I want that bonus experience. I don't think you can roll 200 with a socket, which I know a lot of people love to have sockets on their helms. Yeah, you can't, but you can get like 100-ish in a socket. So yeah, the socket would increase the price just a little bit. Actually like 10 times, so that's one thing to take a note of. If not, yeah, something like that is pretty good. 15k, come on guys, you know, people should start buying more Endaros in my opinion. They're extremely undervalued in the game. So another mainstream legendary we'll be going through is the Blackthorn set. So usually Blackthorns, people only talk about the Blackthorns jousting mill and the chest piece, which is the Blackthorn circle. Okay, so the only reason why I'm throwing this in is because the two set bonus is like 100 vitality, which is a lot of fight, considering that these roll with like over 90 vite all the time and a certain percentage of vitality. You'll be getting a lot of fight. Needless to say, my personal recommendation is to get like over 200 vite on these, and they're not really expensive. Something like that is pretty amazing. So if you add that with a circle with over 200 vite, you're looking at 400 vite plus 12% and 100 additional vitality from the two set. So that's going to settle most of your vitality issues. um I don't think you can roll 200 with like over 100. Oh, you can. So there you go. This right here is absolutely amazing. So for you monks out there, you should be aiming to get something like this, being that now the inner set are just way too overpriced. So let's take a quick gander at the surcoat. Now the surcoat is a little more expensive. Like if you want a set like this with these same rolls, you know, it's gonna be like 75 mil. So usually what I do is just search for 200 fights, and there you go. Now that is ridiculous in my opinion. Um, yeah, wow, that's really cheap. What the hell? Huh? How much fight? Oh, that's 200. Okay, yeah. So I was thinking of buying that and reselling it, but I'm not going to do it. Um, so something like this is like 300k. You know, it's pretty decent. Let's look for the Dex ones. The Dex ones are more expensive. Um, yeah, it's like 1 mil, which is pretty shocking. It's gone up quite a bit. They used to be less than 1 mil. So let's try 190. Yeah, so it just dropped the price quite a bit. By quite a lot actually. What the hell? Yeah. So that's one thing that people don't always look out for. Like I know people would pay a lot more once they hit the 200 marks. Like for some reason people just do. Like people undervalue the 190 ones. Like this for a mil is fine, I think. Um, this for a mil is ridiculous. Like absolutely. I should be buying that out and reselling it in my opinion, but I'm not going to. I have to I have to force myself not to. So that would be about it for the armor pieces. I'm just gonna go to the legendary weapons now, and of course I'll be starting with everybody's least favorite or favorite, either one, the Echoing Fury. So needless to say, the Echoing Fury is by far the best main hand weapon. I look at that, you know, this actually gives me more damage than my own, and mine has crit damage and int, and I'm using a wizard. So needless to say, the Echoing Fury has ridiculous potential. And I do mean ridiculous potential, but yeah, if you want a really good one, it's gonna cost you quite a bit. So I think you could get a decent pair for a mil at least. No, you can't. That's 10 mil. Okay, so you can for a mil. But needless to say, the things that you want on the Echoing Fury would be either a socket or crit chance. So let's try with a socket. I don't think you. Oh, you can get a decent one, but they're the int ones, and for the int, you know, you rarely go Echoing Fury unless you're using Archon, to which you might consider getting an Echoing Fury. Oh, okay, so the price seems to have gone down quite a bit since my last video, so that's actually pretty fine. Yeah, so you can get a pretty decent one now. My opinion, over 1100 damage is decent, but this is not too bad. Like yeah, these are really not too bad. So once again, or you could search for crit damage. Oh, the only reason why they are cheap, I just realized, is because they don't have lifesteal, which is a must on every weapon. Yeah, so once you get that, you know, it drops quite a bit. In fact, they're not even worth it anymore. I think you could only get a decent pair for like 5. No, not even 5, 10 mil then. Okay, 20? Yeah, so you had to get like 20 mil, spend 20 mil for a decent Echoing Fury with lifesteal and a socket. Crit chance is a little cheaper, or rather crit damage is a little cheaper, but in most cases you should be able to afford a gem that will give you more than that. Like this is pretty good. This one here, it's not as good as mine, but it's pretty good. Like mine was like 30 mil, so it's not gonna compare like that. So yeah, the Echoing Fury. Now the one thing that people do I think blow out proportion is a chance to hit on fear, or rather chance to fear on hit. Chance to hit on fear is just stupid. Yeah, so the chance to fear on hit. Usually people try to aim for less than 15%, which this first one has right here. Yeah, so personally I don't think it's a big deal, but some people do. I'm still conflicted on that. As an Archon, I don't think it makes a difference because you should be one-shotting everything except for like champions or elites. So I don't think it makes too big of a difference. But some people think it is. So the ideal one would be like something with a 0.25 attack speed, pretty high like crit damage like 70, not 7 but 70. Yeah, like 70, and has life steal. So the cheapest we're looking at here, I mean, it would be pretty low. These are bad ones, like over 1,000. Surprisingly, there's one for 60 mil. I thought it'd be a lot more, like 100, yeah, something like that. And those don't even have really good um, APS, which is something that for wizards and barbs is pretty important, because you need to get a certain amount of attack speed to hit your minimal ticks, which is 2.5 and 2.31 respectively. Those are the minimal I think you should get. So yeah, this will be pretty hard to cut it. So that's just that. Next we'll go to the Scorn, which is the weapon everybody loves to hate for some reason. So lifesteal tends to increase the price quite a bit. Yeah. So entry level Scorn is like 20, 30, 40k. But once you start adding the lifesteal, it always rolls with crit damage, so it's pretty stupid to filter that. But I'm just going to. You can get pretty high on this, like 190 is a good one, and we're looking at 2 mil. Like that is an amazing weapon right there. But people don't like to see it that way. Needless to say, the Dex ones once again are the more expensive ones, for whatever reason. So scorns are mostly used for a PvP, though some people do use it against the computer. But these are usually used by monks or low budget like CM, or low budget Archon wizards, to which you could get some pretty good ones. So let's check out the int. I think int is more expensive on these, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they are. So yeah, though you can get a lot of int. Like you can get int and vitality in huge amounts, like something like 300 and 200. I'm pretty sure you can get. Oh, you can't. 100? No, you can't. That's weird, because I remember at one point you could. So let's drop this to like 200 and 100, because I'm pretty sure you can't get that. Something like this. Okay, that's weird. Okay, I guess you can't get that anymore. Oh, that's because it's lifesteal. Like, yeah, if you're not looking for lifesteal, if you have enough lifesteal on like your belt and stuff, you could get something like this. Like, that is ridiculous right there. Just look at that. That's amazing stats. In my opinion, you shouldn't get anything less than 170 crit damage. Needless to say, once the crit damage starts going up, so that's the price. And once the cost stats go up, so that's the price as well. So yeah. So that should be about all for today. The last one I want to check out for you guys is the Litania rings. Now Litania rings are getting a little more popular. I have no idea why. They do roll pretty decent stats. They're not the greatest rings out there. And 150k, yeah, I guess for price they could be pretty good. Though once you start adding crit damage, this is what everybody wants. Like crit chance and crit damage, it does get really expensive. Like, just look at that, that's ridiculously expensive. In the millions. In most rare rings, I think you can get would be pretty cheap, I would imagine. Actually no, now that I think about it, it may not be the case, so I'm gonna look for decks here. Oh, okay, so the Litanis are actually, wow, this is actually better than my rings. Oh well, this is my Zunis, my bad. Okay, so, yeah, so, I guess for cost, a Litani could be better or cheaper than a rare ring, but you're not gonna get better stats than you would normally on a rare ring on a Litani. And one thing to note is that you can get trifectas on Litanis, but you can't. No, okay, so you can't get trifectas on Litani rings. So there you go. So a decent crit damage that people should be looking for is like at least 35%, and that's like 45 mil. So they're not too affordable, but once you can get them, I guess you should. I mean, they would be like, look, they actually outperform mine, and mine has 6% crit chance and over 165, but this is like just so much better than mine. So yeah, that's one thing to take note of. So that'll be all for today. Once again, there will be all the sets up for taking. Thank you so much for those who have supported me, especially West Wally, because I know you're there all the time. Like, let's take a look. Pretty sure you're there. Like, oh god, that's really bright. Yeah, so thank you so much for supporting me. This is just the first of all the um, guides I'll be going through this next week. So if you want the sets, do check my profile out. There should be a link below in this video to link you to this page, which is my profile page. So do check it out. Leave a comment, like, subscribe if you want to win the set. If not, if you like the content, do help me out and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. This is Jay.